Fear doesn't start with what happens. It starts with the meaning your mind has learned to give to things. Your life has been shaped by external voices, by experiences that installed an invisible but powerful program in your mind. There are practices that have been buried, forgotten, discredited, not because they don't work, but because they reveal too much. They reveal that you are not a victim of your emotional state. They reveal that you are the programmer, the operator, the creator of your psychic reality. In this video, we're going to go together behind the scenes of your mind. We're going to deprogram fear and reconnect with a truth you may have never heard, but your soul has always known. At the end, you'll receive a forgotten but ancient practice, one that can silence not only fear and anxiety, but every frequency that tries to disconnect you from your creative essence. Take a deep breath. If you feel like you're no longer in control, maybe this is the call your consciousness has been asking for. The fear you feel today didn't start now. It's the result of a mental program that was installed a long time ago, and you didn't even notice. Since childhood, your mind absorbed commands that seemed normal. Don't do that, it might go wrong. Be quiet. Don't dream too big. These repeated phrases created a pattern of self-protection. But over time, that protection became a prison. Fear becomes part of the way you interpret everything. You start avoiding risks, delaying decisions, doubting your own intuition. But none of this is conscious. It's automatic. It's a code running in the background. This code is behind the constant anxiety, the difficulty making decisions, the feeling that something might always go wrong. And the most dangerous part, it speaks in your own voice. It sounds like it's you thinking, but it's not. It's a conditioned reflex. And like any learned reflex, it can be undone. You weren't born with fear. You learned it. And if you learned it, you can unlearn it. That's the key. It's common to think that we need to fight against the mind, that it's the source of fear, anxiety, and self-sabotage. But that's a mistake. The mind is not your enemy. It's just operating based on an old, outdated program that no longer matches what you want today. Think of the mind as software. It runs exactly what was installed without question. And what was installed? Limiting beliefs, unresolved traumas, misinterpreted experiences. All of that turned into repetitive mental commands that control your decisions, emotions, and reactions. This programming didn't come from your essence. It came from the outside. Family, school, society, impactful experiences. The mind was taught to operate in survival mode, not in creation mode. That's why you're afraid to change. That's why anxiety shows up when you try to step out of your comfort zone. The mind tries to protect you from the unknown, even if the unknown is exactly what you need. But you can reprogram your mind with clarity, consistency, and awareness. Controlling the mind doesn't mean suppressing thoughts. It means teaching your mind to follow your intention, not your past. When that happens, fear starts to lose ground. Anxiety has nowhere else to hide. Your mind can become your greatest ally, but only when you become the new programmer. Anxiety doesn't come only from the mind. It shows up in the body, but it has an energetic origin. Your aura, the vibrational field that surrounds your physical body, responds directly to the thoughts and emotions you hold. When your mind activates memories of fear, insecurity, or lack of control, your energy field contracts. And that contraction is what you feel as anxiety. It's a misaligned vibration that affects your breathing, your focus, your internal rhythm. You go into a state of alert with no real reason, because the body is reacting to an imagined scenario as if it were real. The mind creates, the body believes, the energy responds, and this cycle repeats until it becomes a pattern. Anxiety is not just emotion. It's an energetic frequency you're sending out without realizing it. Environments, people, news, habits, all of these influence that frequency. But the most common trigger is your inner dialogue. The way you speak to yourself. The way you interpret what you feel. If you start the day thinking about everything that could go wrong, your aura already prepares for the worst. Closes up, trying to protect itself. But that energetic protection also blocks intuition, joy, and presence. That's why learning to observe your thoughts and emotions is essential. Because every vibrational shift begins with self-awareness. You don't need to fight anxiety. You need to recognize what's feeding that frequency and change what you're sending out. Your field vibrates according to what you believe is true. There is a simple yet deeply effective practice that can silence the fear alarm system. It only requires intention, repetition, and presence. This ritual is based on 3 pillars: conscious breathing, guided visualization, and mental command. First, the breathing. It's the direct access point to the autonomic nervous system. When you breathe slowly, deeply, and rhythmically, you send a signal of safety to the brain. And when the brain senses there is no threat, it starts turning off the defense mechanisms. The body relaxes. The mind slows down. Second, the visualization. You need to teach your mind to see new possibilities. Imagine yourself in a state of peace, control, and clarity. See yourself calmly overcoming what once triggered fear. The mind doesn't distinguish between reality and vivid visualization. If you practice the right image, the body starts to believe, and your energy field begins to shift. Third, the command. As you breathe and visualize, internally affirm a simple phrase with strength. I am the center of my mind. I command my frequency. Repeat it with conviction. Not like someone hoping for a result, but like someone activating a truth. This sequence, breathing, visualization, and command, takes just a few minutes. But when practiced daily, it reshapes your emotional response. You train your brain to get out of autopilot. You teach your body not to react in fear. Do this ritual when you wake up or before going to bed. Anytime you feel anxiety rising, pause and repeat. The practice reprograms. Consistency transforms. Fear doesn't stand a chance against conscious presence. If you don't direct your mind, someone or something else will do it for you. We live in a collective field of information and energy. The human mind is sensitive to these influences, and if you're not aware of them, you start operating through patterns that aren't even yours. News, social media, heavy conversations, dense environments, all of these send out frequencies your mind absorbs without filtering. And if your mind is distracted, it starts reacting based on what it consumes. Do you feel fear? Do you feel anxiety for no clear reason? It might be that you're tuned in to a collective frequency of lack, insecurity, or chaos. Joe Dispenza teaches that thoughts are the language of the brain, and feelings are the language of the body. When both align with fear, that reality gets stronger. But when you begin to observe, question, and redirect, that reality starts to break apart. Tom Bilyeu says that mastering your mind is the most important skill of the century. Because if you don't control your mind, you end up living a reality shaped by outside triggers. That's why mind control isn't a luxury. It's conscious survival. It doesn't mean eliminating emotions. It means choosing where you place your focus. It means deciding which story you allow to repeat inside of you. The mind just needs direction. If you don't give it, it goes back to the old pattern. And when it starts to follow your lead, anxiety decreases. Fear loses its grip. Clarity returns. Don't be a slave to your own mind. Turn it into a tool of consciousness. You live what you believe, and you believe what you repeat. The mind works through repetition and association. It records patterns, reinforces memories, and turns recurring thoughts into inner truths. That's why changing your life without changing what you say to yourself is nearly impossible. Every time you repeat phrases like, "I'm anxious," "I can't do it," "This always goes wrong," you're reinforcing the old script. You're hypnotizing yourself without realizing it. But you can consciously reprogram your mental script. Start by observing the thoughts that come up in challenging moments. What do you say to yourself when things feel out of control? Those phrases are clues to what's been installed. Now change the script. Create new statements. Use short, present tense phrases that express your energetic intention. For example, I have control over my mind. I choose to respond with clarity. I am secure in myself. Repeat them daily with intention. Write them down. Say them out loud. Feel what you're saying. At first, your mind will resist. It will try to prove that the old is more real. But with persistence, the new starts to gain strength. You don't need to believe it 100% right away. You just need to keep holding the new until it feels familiar. This is conscious self-hypnosis. You choose the words, you choose the vibration, and the universe responds to the new frequency. Reprogramming the mind is an act of spiritual sovereignty. It's declaring that you will no longer be led by inherited patterns, but by intentional choices. You create your reality, and it begins with what you accept as truth within yourself. You are not just an observer of reality. You are the cause. The way you think, feel, and react is shaping the scenes of your life in real time. This isn't just a motivational idea. It's an energetic structure supported by neuroscience, quantum physics, and ancient wisdom. Joe Dispenza teaches that the brain doesn't distinguish between a real experience and one that is vividly imagined. If you can hold a clear mental image, supported by a coherent emotion, your body begins to live that reality even before it happens. And where the body goes, energy follows. And where energy goes, reality begins to form. But this only works when you have mastery over your mind. Because without that mastery, your attention gets lost in what you don't want, your emotion gets trapped in fear, and the reality that manifests continues to reflect insecurity. Creating consciously requires alignment between thought, emotion, and action. And that is only possible through presence. You need to be in the now, aware of what you're creating with every thought you accept. The reality you desire already exists in potential. It's just waiting for you to align with it from within. Fear blocks that alignment. Anxiety scatters your intention. But a trained mind can break through any limitation. You are the creator. And the more conscious you become of this truth, the less room fear has to exist. Nothing truly changes without repetition. The mind needs consistency to create new pathways. That's how it learns. That's how it obeys. You don't need 1,000 techniques. You need one practice that you do every day, with presence, with intention, with devotion, conscious breathing, clear visualization, aligned affirmation, 3 steps, just a few minutes. But done regularly, they transform not just your mental state, but the vibration you send out into the world. And that's what defines what you attract, what you feel, who you become. The most common mistake for those seeking transformation is chasing intensity and forgetting about consistency. But it's the frequency, the vibrational repetition, that creates the new identity. Do this every day, not as a task, but as a reunion with who you truly are. With each practice, you send a clear signal to your system. I'm no longer the one who suffers in silence. I am the one who creates with awareness. I am presence, not reaction. Anxiety loses strength when the mind finds direction. Fear loses its voice when the soul takes back command. And that happens in the simple, the daily, the quiet. The mind bows to habit. And a conscious habit can rebuild your entire reality. Now you know. And what you do with that knowing is what will create your next destiny. You are no longer trapped by automatic reactions. You are no longer a prisoner of anxiety that once felt uncontrollable. Because now you have a practice. And more than that, you have awareness. Awareness that the mind can be trained, that fear can be deprogrammed, and that reality can be chosen, not just endured. Every step you took in this video wasn't just information. It was activation. You remembered that the mind responds to what you hold, that your energy field follows the focus of your attention, and that what you do every day holds more power than what you simply wish for. If you've made it this far, it's not by accident. Maybe a part of you was already ready to break free from the cycle of anxiety and activate a new vibration. Keep going. Apply what you've learned. Come back whenever you need to remember. And if something was awakened in you, maybe the next video is already waiting. Follow your intuition. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, and share it with someone who's ready to take back control of their own mind. See you in the next video.